Hi, I'm Jim Miller. Welcome to Music Theory for Mountain Dulcimer. This video is being produced in conjunction with Western Carolina's Continuing Education Department and is intended for use by students taking the Teaching Dulcimer class at Dulcimer U. Let's start by talking about octaves. An octave is the same note played at a higher pitch. Octaves are divided into 12 steps called half steps. 2 half steps make a whole step. This is easy to see on a chromatic instrument like a mandolin or a guitar, where there are 12 frets dividing the fretboard between the octaves. A mountain dulcimer is different because it's a diatonic instrument. This means it only has the frets needed to play a major scale. Major scales are a specific series of whole and half steps that follow the pattern of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. On the dulcimer, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, and 7, and is recognizable as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If it's played on D string, it's a D scale. If it's played on the A string, it's an A scale. A G scale can be played on the D string by playing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Natural minor scales use the same notes as a major scale, but start and stop on the 6th note, or law, of a major scale. Since they use the same notes, they're related to the major scale and are called relative minor. The relative minor of D major is B minor, is played on the A string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, very good. The relative minor of A is F sharp minor and is played on the A string. 5, 6 and a half, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The relative minor of G is E minor and is played on the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. A mode is a series of pitches that use the same notes as a major scale and, with the exception of Aeolian, do not start and stop on do. There are 4 modes that are common to the dulcimer. They are Aeolian, which is the same as the major scale, or do to do. Dorian, which is a minor scale with a raised 6, or re to re. Mixolydian, which is a major scale with a flatted 7th, sol to sol, and Aeolian, which is the same as a natural minor, or law to law. D Aeolian is played on the D string, O, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, and 7. Aeolian is played on the A string, O, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, and 7. And these are the same as major scales. E Dorian is played on the D string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, 7, and 8. B Dorian is played on the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, 7, and 8. An example of E Dorian is heard in Greensleeves. D Mixolydian is played on the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. A Mixolydian is played on the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you hear Mixolydian in Old Joe Clark. E Aeolian is played on the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. B Aeolian is played on the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you hear the Aeolian mode used in songs such as Shady Grove. DAD tuning is sometimes referred to as Mixolydian tuning. This comes from a time before the 6 1/2 fret was common. In the key of D, with the open top string as Do, the 6th fret is the flatted 7th note of the scale. DAA was referred to as Aeolian because with the Do starting at the top A string on the 3rd fret, a major scale can be played in the key of D without the 6 1/2 fret. An interval is the difference in pitch between two tones. The Dulcimer in DAD tuning has a perfect 5th, D to A, and a perfect 4th, A to D, with an octave from D to D. A chord is at least 3 notes sounding together. If you strum across a Dulcimer tuned DAD, there are only 2 notes sounding, and therefore it's not a chord. It's a perfect 5th and a perfect 4th. It does not become a chord until a major 3rd, F sharp, is added. It then becomes a D major chord. This is why a bar chord is neither a major or a minor chord. This can be seen if you play a bar chord at the 4th fret. 4, 4, 4. It's neither major or minor. But if you put a major 3rd on the bottom, 6, 6 1/2, 4, 4, it becomes an A major chord. If you play a minor 3rd on the bottom, 6, 4, 4, it's A minor. It's the quality of the 3rd that determines the quality of the chord, whether it's major or minor. A triad is 2 thirds stacked on top of each other. A triad chord can be built on each note of a major scale. In the key of D, these triads are O-O-2, or a D chord. It's a 1 chord. 1-1-3 is an E minor, or a 2 chord. 2-2-4 is an F sharp minor, or a 3 chord. 3-3-5 is a G chord, or a 4 chord. 4-4-6½ is an A major, or a 5 chord. 5-5-7 is a B minor, or a 6 chord. And 6½, 6-8 is a C sharp diminished, or a 7 diminished chord. The most important chords in any key are the 1, the 4, and the 5 chords. These are the chords that are most commonly used in traditional music. The 6, the 2, and the 3 are sometimes used as well. It's useful to know these chords in different keys. In the key of D, the 1 chord would be a D, 4 chord would be a G, 5 chord's an A, 6 chord is a B minor, and 2 chord is an E minor. In the key of G, the 1 chord is a G, 4 chord is a C, 5 chord is a D, 6 chord is an E minor, and the 2 chord is an A minor. In the key of A, the 1 chord is an A, 4 chord is a D, 5 chord is an E, the 6 is an F sharp minor, and the 2 chord is a B minor. A capo is a useful tool that allows the player to change keys without retuning. The most common capo positions are 3rd fret, which is G Aeolian, 4th fret, which is A Mixolydian if you use the 6½, or A Dorian if you use the 6th fret. If you capo on the 1st fret, you're in E Aeolian. An inversion of a chord is formed when the root of the chord is not the lowest pitch. L-shaped chords have the root as the lowest note, so they're in root position. 3-3-5 is a G chord with the root G on the bottom. Slant-shaped chords have the 3rd note as the lowest pitch, so they're in 1st position. 2-3-4 is a D chord with the 3rd F sharp on the bottom. Extended slant chords have the 5th note as the lowest pitch, so they're in 2nd inversion. 2-3-5 is a B minor with the 5th F sharp on the bottom. Bar chords in DAD tuning are incomplete chords since there are only 2 notes. The most common key signatures found in traditional music are the key of D, which has 2 sharps. The relative minor is B minor. The key of A, which has 3 sharps. The relative minor is F sharp minor. The key of G, which has one sharp, the relative minor is E minor. In the key of C, which has no sharps, the relative minor is A minor. The relative minors of these keys have the same key signature as the major keys. The best way to determine where the song is written is to compare the key signature with the last note. If there are two sharps, you would expect it to be in the key of D, Aeolian. But if the last note is E, then it's in E Dorian. If the last note is B, then it's in B Aeolian, which is natural minor. The circle of fifths is a useful tool that shows at a glance the number of sharps and flats in any key. In addition, it shows the relative minor of any major key. It also shows the family of expected chords that one will use when playing in any key, and is useful for transposing music to different keys. Starting with the 1 chord, the 4 chord is to the left and the 5 chord is to the right. The 6 chord is the relative minor of the 1 chord. The 2 chord is the relative minor of the 4 chord. And the 3 is the relative minor of the 5 chord. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you've learned something, and I hope that you can put this information to good use in your teaching.